How are you doing? It's Martin from Gardens for Life. We're going to make some compost tea in this video. Basically just from comfrey leaves and nettle leaves as well. And we're going to do it in this blue barrel behind me. I'll try not to drop the camera into it. So this barrel is approximately about 150 or so litres. And we have a lid for it as well that we can use to close it off once we are making our compost tea. We won't seal it, but at least we'll cover it just to stop other things from falling into it, including insects and cats and leaves. Although we don't really mind if leaves fall into it, because we're actually making a compost tea from leaves, but only certain plants that are mineral accumulators, such as nettles. Now, I've got my secateurs and a leather glove. I always joke around, the white glove looks like Michael Jackson's glove, except it's green on the other side, so that doesn't really work. Let's see, we'll go and get some nettles. I cut these ones over here down already the other day, so we'll go down this way through the willow tunnel. Here's the chickens. They got much bigger since our video with the chicken tractor. We're going to actually do an update on that too. We're going to be moving them over to there shortly, possibly this weekend, and we're going to start a new vegetable garden in this spot here. So if I remember correctly, there may be a few nettles down this way. Let's have a look. And sure enough, nettle forest. And here's some green sprout and broccoli that has fallen over. Check it out, the amount of nettles. Oh, while we're here, I must show you this. Look at the raspberries. There's a lot of insects here. That's amazing. A lot of bees and other pollinating insects. Fantastic. And same as the broccoli here, the yellow flowers, attracting all of the beneficial insects. Even butterflies are pollinating, of course. And you can see we've already got small little raspberries here. I suspect that of course the blackbirds will probably take every single one of them, but we don't mind, you know. They're nesting and they're good for the garden year round, so we'll get the second wave of raspberries, because these are actually primocans, so they'll fruit again in the autumn time. Now, what we'll do now is I think the handiest way to get the nettles is if you just kind of step on them sideways, like that, and expose the stems. I'll try and hold the camera with the other side. And what we'll do now is cut them. Oh, that's all there is to it. We'll just stuff them in the bucket. And I don't know exactly how many nettles it takes to make a compost tea. If any of you guys have ever done it, please leave a comment below and let us know what kind of recipe you follow. But I think comfrey and nettles are really good for the purpose, because they all have very deep roots and they're mineral accumulators anyway, and they're full of nitrogen, which is exactly what our plants need, especially the ones in the greenhouse, because I think the potting mix that we're using is very nitrogen deficient, and as a result the plants are sort of stunted. Oh, we'll just get one bucket worth. Maybe we'll add more later. Okay, that'll do. We'll go and have a look at the comfrey now. Comfrey is an awesome plant to have, as long as you get the kind that doesn't seed. We don't actually know exactly what variety we have, but we do know that it's about 3 years old now and it hasn't seeded, so that means it must be one of the Bokken varieties, so that's a good thing. And we're back at the barrel. Now, we'll just... There's a slug. Why is there a slug in the barrel? No food here for it. Now, we'll try not to drop the camera down into the actual barrel. Now, here you can see, we just empty out the nettles. If I had a rake now, that would help, but I don't have one to hand, so I'll just use one of these cans, watering cans, and just use it to push it down. Now, put that water back in here. We'll probably fill that up more actually, up to the top. And now we'll get some comfrey. Here's a Portuguese kale plant, a few of them actually. The roses are flowering now. And we have a big comfrey plant over here. Let's have a look at it. Here it is. As you can see here, it really is great for the bees and for all the other insects. So we'll just take some of the leaves from the side. Of course, earlier in the year there's only leaves and no flowering stalks, which would have been handy, but that's okay. We'll get it done anyway. I would use gloves when handling them because these hairs actually become kind of spiky, especially when they become a bit more mature. Don't need a set of hairs actually. In permaculture, you can use the comfrey leaves to mulch the fruit trees, and usually fruit trees are underplanted with it. And instead of using wood chips, for example, you could use that. Ah. We'll just take some of the bigger leaves. Ideally, we would have been better off to do this earlier in the year because the leaves would have been bigger and there would have been no flowering stalks. We don't want to disturb the insects too much here either, that are actually pollinating these or eating the nectar off these flowers here. It's a lovely smell of it. It smells like cucumber, same as borage. It's also known as bone knit because it actually you can make a poultice, and it actually helps to heal bone twice as quick as it normally would. I'm not sure about ligaments actually in the shoulder. I must look that up because a friend of ours actually has a problem with the shoulder, and I must check to see if it would help with that too. But I do know it's definitely a medicinal plant and very useful. And by the way, a poultice is simply crushing up the plant and then applying it on your broken bone, of course, on the outside on the skin, and you simply put like a band-aid over it just to keep it there for a certain length of time, maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour or so. Don't put this on the open wound because it'll actually help heal it a little bit too quick, and it could actually end up with becoming septic, your wound. It encourages cell division. That's how it does it. Now I think that'll do fine. Now we won't forget the secateurs here. Just empty these borage leaves. Sorry, excuse me, comfrey leaves. Borage would actually work fine too, but it's only an annual, so it's kind of, it takes a while to grow. So this one here is perennial. The comfrey is perennial, so you can just keep harvesting it year after year. Of course, give it time to recover, and don't harvest too many leaves off any plant, especially plants like rhubarb. You don't want to be overdoing it. 25% is the maximum you ever want to harvest off any plant at any one time. Now, again, if I had a rake now, I would use it. And I will use a rake in the future. Now, and we'll leave that in there now for about a week. We'll stir it once a day and we'll keep the lid on. Full of leaves from the storm the other day. Now, and that's it. Well, we'll come back in about a week's time and we can start using it. You could filter it and take all the leaves out, or you could simply just use a watering can and take the water out. If you can take it out at an angle, you can simply avoid getting the leaves into the can, and then you can reuse the water again, or you can even add more water to keep topping it up for a while, at least for a few weeks anyway, and then you can discard the leaves after that because there's no more minerals in it anyway. You can also use volcanic rock dust and put a bit of that into the water, or spread it on, just kind of, it's like dust, so you can spread it on the surface of the soil or on your wood chips as well. That's what we've been doing, and the rain will actually wash it down into the soil with the runoff. Okay, well, that's all there is to it. That's how you make compost tea. And thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Thanks a million. Bye bye.